welcome back. I have my iced coffee, I have anxiety, I have you here. Let's talk, okay? First, let's get into this coffee a little bit. Iced coffee, doesn't matter how cold it is outside, it's gotta be ice, you know? I've been drinking like this Teddy Graham coffee, kind of like, you know, you remember the little Teddy Grahams? I'll post edit Santia, put that in there. But it's like vanilla. I use sugar. They say we use brown sugar. I don't have brown sugar. I'm gonna use regular sugar. A little honey, a little cinnamon, and it kind of tastes like a cinnamon graham cracker. It's delicious. It's fire. But that's not the reason why I brought you here. We're going to talk about anxiety. I did a little Q&A on my Instagram, just asking some questions of what people want to know more about me. And let's get into it. Let's talk about some of these questions. I'm going to have my phone so I can get these questions right up for y'all. First question I got is, what dreams are you going after right now? This is such a hard question. And it's like, the older I get, the more difficult this question becomes. You know, what dreams am I going after? Honestly, the ultimate dream really is just sustaining this life and being happy. You know, I just want to enjoy this life that I have, and I've been creating content for years now. I've probably done it pretty consistently, I would say like 5+ years. Those years in the middle, you know, I went through some things, so they weren't all consistent, but since my senior year of college, which was in 2019, I've been posting, and you know, I want to keep doing that. I love creating. I love being able to think up creative photo shoots and executing them. I found that I really enjoy coming up with the idea, creating kind of like a backdrop, but also using makeup as my main vehicle of creation. But also I realized that I'm an adult, I have bills to pay. I want to pay my bills, and as like non-dreamy as that sounds, like my bills being paid, like I don't need like this super luxurious billion-dollar life. I just want my bills to be paid. I want to be able to create freely and, you know, just eat good food, enjoy this life that I have, and create memories along the way. And like, that's really it. Like, you know, I'm not trying to compare my dreams to others, but that's all that I want. Like, that's what I am dreaming. Next question. How did social anxiety affect your day-to-day life? Let's get into it. I've been socially anxious my entire life. One of the first times that I realized that I was like not doing well in social situations is like waiting in lines and like being in crowds. It just, as young as I can remember, it is always like wake me out. Like, I could be having a good day, I could be feeling good, but as soon as I feel like someone is in my personal space and I'm being perceived when I don't want to be perceived, I don't know, I just feel sweaty. I'll get really sweaty, I'll get really hot, I'll start to stutter. It's really interesting because not only is it kind of like mentally in my head that I'm feeling just kind of like rattled, but it has physical traits. Like, my number one go-to is being sweaty. I will be sweating all down my face. My armpits will be sweated out. I get sweaty like in the crotch area, the groin area, if you will. So that's how I knew, and I've been dealing with this my entire life. Of course, there wasn't always like a word for it. I was just kind of like bugging out in the store, and I would, you know, find things that I really liked, and then I would get in line, and I felt like if someone was like too close to me in line, or I felt like maybe my personal space wasn't being respected, I'd put everything back and leave. And I've done that more times than I would like to admit. And sometimes you get home and you're like, why? I got all the way there. I was already feeling bad, feeling like tortured that I was there. I might as well have just gone through. But for me, I was like, I'm not going to feel horrible because someone's in my personal space, feel sweaty, anxious, and then have to spend money on top of that. Like, I'm going to eliminate one of those, and I'm not spending my money. But I'm working on it. And that's really how it affects me. A lot of times, like, crowds is a big thing for me. So concerts, festivals don't, you know, seem all that attractive to me. I live in New York. You know, the subway gets packed, the trains get packed. you know, there's lines for all the really popular restaurants, all of those things. Basically like exposure therapy every time that I leave my house, which has been great. I think like part of it is recognizing that that's what that is, and equipping myself with the tools to get through, move on, and, you know, kind of go there and get done what I went there for. Sometimes that includes, you know, looking at the menu, looking at a couple videos online to see what I'm getting into. A lot of times if I can kind of like prepare myself for crowds, to prepare myself to be overstimulated, then I can kind of deal with it. Going with friends, a lot of times even if I'm solo, holding myself accountable in any type of way, and being okay with that. Even if I get somewhere and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna leave, that's okay, girl. You got there, you got dressed, you tried your best, and sometimes that is all that we can ask for, is that we tried. Not every day is going to be like perfect, but we are going to try. Okay, sorry if you hear some alarms and sirens. You know, I'm a city girl. I'm in the city, girl. Don't be alarmed, because you're all right. Okay. All right, let's go into the next questions. I'm going to combine these two questions to kind of make it like a long rant session. But how did you build your self-confidence over time, and what's something you used to be insecure about that you now embrace? I feel like these kind of go like hand in hand. Self-confidence over time, I feel like that, as the question implies, just happens over time and getting a little bit older and really just settling into who you are. I am in my second half of my 20s, and like those teens through your 20s, it feels like you're like a chicken with your head cut off. I am not quite out of that stage yet, but I'm starting to see the light. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you just, after, you know, 27 years, you kind of figure out what it is that you are and who you are, and like how you present and how you want to present. And I think you have a lot more clarity about who you are. Of course, this was not without many like anxiety, depression sessions. Like it took a lot of time, and it took, you know, being friends with people who were maybe not meant to be friends with, and being in situations you maybe shouldn't have been in, but taking every experience, every failed friendship, everything that's going on, and using it to reflect and you know, learn from it, grow, be better. Yeah, that's really how I started to be more confident in myself. And honestly, like, you start to realize that you are the main character in your own life, but also everyone else is the main character in their own lives, which is nice in a way that you're like, okay, I can create this story and make this world around me, but everyone else also has their own world, and maybe people don't like notice you or pay as attention to you as you do. Like, you know, if you're insecure about something, whether that be, sometimes I get insecure about like this part of my face because I like have a weak chin. I feel like I have a lot of like fat here, and my cheeks are always like so chubby. Girl, nobody notices. Actually, no one notices and no one cares. It's just you like nitpicking yourself or finding things you don't like about yourself, whether that be like the size of your arms. I was really insecure. I have a big head. Just realizing that that's just how you are, that is who you are, and also that no one cares and no one notices nearly as much as you care and notice. So we have to live this life like one way or another. You might as well find a way to love it and accept it, and if that means taking steps to change it, by all means go ahead and do that. But if you're like, this is just the size of my head, there's nothing I can do about it. It is big. I do have a hard time wearing hats. You know, like that is just the way that I am. There is no reason to like suffer twice, basically. Like, if I'm gonna have a big head, my head's gonna be big, but I'm not gonna make myself feel bad because my head is big. Like, my head is just big, honestly. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does. And like, this is just the way that I am. Do I think everyone on the street is like, that girl has a big head? Probably not. Most people don't even notice or look at you or pay attention or care enough. And even if they do, so what? Your head's big. Now what? Like, and so what? Truly, like, you have to look at yourself and be like, so what now? You know, is this something that I can improve and change? Is this just who I am, what I am? And you just gotta be okay with it. Kind of take that, add it to your story, and it really is who you are. And like, you are unique. There's only one you. We've heard that our entire lives, but it's true, girl. Like, there's only one you, so you might as well accept what you are, who you are, and learn how to make your life fab because of it. You know, it's yours. You might as well make it yours. Last question is really about my move from Virginia. I lived in Richmond, Virginia to New York City. So I actually spent only a couple of years in Richmond. I am originally from Atlantic City, New Jersey, which, you know, you think casinos, like, yeah, like South Jersey. And my family moved to Virginia, Northern Virginia, kind of like middle school years for me. And I spent middle school, high school, and then college in middle and central Virginia. And then after college, like a year or two after college, I moved to Richmond, and I lived in Richmond for, I want to say, 3 years, and it was great. I really enjoyed my time in Richmond. I didn't leave because like I didn't like Richmond. It just, you know, it's cool. From being from Northern Virginia, there's not a ton of like city life, city living, and it really does depend on what area you're in. But where I was at, not diverse. I was the only black person in my classes or in the activities I was in, or the college I went to. You know, a lot of my classes, it was like, I was like one of two, one of five, like not very diverse. And Richmond really offered that diversity that I was looking for. Of course, you know, for diversity, you can always go into DC. Even some parts of Northern Virginia are a lot more diverse than where I was at, but specifically my experience, Richmond was a lot more diverse, not only in like race, black, Asian, you know, Latin American, all the things, but also just diverse in the people that are there. There are people who are in Richmond for college. There are people who have lived, born, raised in Richmond their entire lives, like grew up there, left, and came back. So it's just really diverse, and there's a lot of different like walks of life there, which I really enjoyed. They have really great restaurants. What is really great about it is that it is a city. You know, it operates like a city. There is a public bus system, but it's also like a small and digestible city. Like, you are going to see similar people outside similar times. Your mailman will probably be the same. Like, it has like the charm of like Virginia, small city, but it is still a city. So like, you can still use public transportation to get around. Public transportation, like the buses, at least when I lived there, were free to everyone. So it has like its moments where it's like, okay, I can get around on public transportation for the most part if you're in like Richmond City, but also it kind of has the cute charm, little city-ness of it, which I really enjoyed. It's not a city that like most musical artists go through, so you'll still be commuting up to DC, Maryland for like big concerts, things like that, if that's what you're interested in, or even like going down to like Virginia Beach. So it is kind of like not super popular, that if you love concerts, if you love seeing the biggest artists coming out, they're not coming to Richmond. They're not. But I love the city. I love the nightlife. It's cute. But I moved to New York because it's New York City. Like, it's New York City, girl. I want to be a city girl. I'm a northerner through and through, kind of like in my spirit, in my soul. And in Richmond, I had a car, you know. If you are a car gal, you can also like have your car in the city and just know how to parallel park and read signs, and you'll be all right. But in New York, it's a lot less convenient to have a car and a lot more expensive. So I sold my car when I moved up here. I wanted to be somewhere where, you know, it's just a little bit more lively. I'm not a nightlife gal. I don't go out that often, like at night, but I really wanted to live in a bigger city, go and take advantage of things like New York Fashion fashion week or model castings or other like brand events that quite frankly just aren't available to non-New York, non-LA. Honestly, even things as simple as like getting PR. My PR comes so fast now. When I was in Richmond, I would always get my PR like a week after everyone else got it. And although that's like, you know, seems small, but I really just wanted to live somewhere that had more like in-person opportunities, more things to do. And as much as I loved Richmond, there was really nothing holding me there. So I was like, why not? You know, like, why not? Like, New York City, if I can, then do it. And I did, and I'm here. But all that to say, I love Richmond. I would live in Richmond again if I had to. Really enjoyed my time there, and it is a time that I find to be really valuable. I learned a lot about myself post-college, working different jobs, doing different things, and yeah, that time was good for me. Richmond was good to me. You know, no major complaints there. All right, I think that's all that I'm going to talk about with you all today. Make sure that you are liking this video, commenting, subscribing. A lot of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. Subscribe, Pookie. Like, be my friend. No. I just appreciate you for being here, honestly. We talked about a couple different things going on. A cute little Q&A about my dreams, this kind of self-acceptance, self-confidence journey that is ongoing, but that I am progressing in. Talked about a lot about my social anxiety and what that looks like, what I do to kind of deal with it and move on, and my transition from Richmond, Virginia, all the way up to New York City. Let me know if you have any other questions that you want me to answer. I would love to do another follow-up video to this. I will see you in the next one, and thank you for watching. Bye.